In the 1950s, the United States planned to combine the huge payload of the B-52 bomber with the high-speed flight capabilities of the B-58 bomber to create a new large strategic bomber, which later became the B-70 Valkyrie. It was planned to fly at an altitude of 21,000 meters at 3 times the speed of sound, and could ignore the interceptors and anti-aircraft guns at that time. However, with the opponent's deployment of the SA-2 high-altitude air defense missile, the situation changed. The Americans believed that this missile would carry a nuclear warhead, and the B-70's speed and altitude advantage would no longer exist. Therefore, a defensive air-to-air missile was proposed for the bomber, which was the 1958 Lenticular Defense Missile, LDM, program. The envisioned air-to-air missile would be able to withstand accelerations of 60-250 GG, reach speeds of 7 Mach, and be capable of rapid directional changes. This was an unconventional high-performance missile. The designers completed preliminary research and wind tunnel tests at the Air Force Equipment Center and the Arnold Engineering Development Center, and believed that the design was feasible. Convair received a development contract in 1959 to further develop the missile. Unlike conventional cylindrical missiles, this missile was designed in a disc shape, with a wedge-shaped longitudinal cross-section. This shape was chosen because it was believed to have the best maneuverability, with the missile's overall mass distribution being uniform. The missile weighed about 230 kilograms, was 230 millimeters thick, had a diameter of 1.8 meters, and a 25-kilogram warhead. The missile body was made of magnesium alloy, and it was powered by 2 Thiokol M58A2 solid-fuel rocket engines. Some sources suggest 3 engines, each producing 2,200 pounds of thrust, allowing the missile to reach speeds of over 6.5 Mach and a maximum altitude of approximately 23,600 meters, with a combat range of 133 kilometers. The missile used a complex guidance system and was stored in a rotary bomb bay in the bomber. When launched, the missile was lowered to the launch position via a columnar structure, then rotated horizontally to the appropriate angle for launch. The maximum horizontal rotation angle of the launch mechanism was 180 degrees. The missile was ejected initially and ignited its engine at a safe distance, flying along a pre-programmed path based on the target's approach. At this point, it did not have combat capability. Once it had flown a certain distance, the cylindrical heat-seeking guidance head at the front of the missile would begin to work, and before it did, a protective cover was ejected. At this point, the guidance head began to search for the target, and the weapons officer in the bomber could adjust the direction of the guidance head through equipment. Once the target was detected, the missile would automatically lock onto the target, and the weapons officer would no longer control the missile. The missile would then use 6 small rocket engines to adjust its flight attitude until it hit the target or lost the target. This special air-to-air missile was named Pye Wacket, after a cat in the movie Bell, Book and Candle. There are 2 theories about the origin of the name. One is that it was named by a secretary in the project office who had seen the movie, and the other is that it was named by Colonel Stewart, who was involved in the project. The Pi-Wacket missile program was divided into 3 stages of development. The first stage was feasibility exploration, the second stage was the development of related equipment, and the third stage included sled launch tests of the missile, as well as the design of more complex intercontinental missiles and spacecraft. It is evident that the United States planned to expand this project to a larger scope at the time. It is generally believed that the Pi-Wacket missile was not produced, and only some models for wind tunnel testing were made. However, a small number of people believe that the United States had already produced the missile around 1960, but due to its high level of secrecy, it was not publicly acknowledged. In any case, this project was abandoned in the early 1960s, as the shooting down of the U-2 high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft in 1960 caused a huge sensation. The Americans believed that the B-70, without radar stealth capability, was not capable of penetrating enemy defenses on its own. So the development work was abandoned, and the associated air-to-air missile naturally had no need for further development.